And I think when you spread the wealth around, it's good for everybody.
And that any health care funding plan that is just, equitable, civilized, and humane must redistribute wealth from the richer among us to the poor and the less fortunate. Excellent health care is by definition redistributional.
Are you then calling for the redistribution of wealth in society?
Absolutely, without any hesitation. That's what the gospel is all about.
And then the third lesson and tip actually come from two of my favorite political philosophers, Mao Zedong and Mother Teresa, not often coupled with each other. But the two people that I turn to most.
Azar is for those who aren't in capitalism. That's for those who took the TARP money and haven't given it back to us.
I think this is the first time I've ever heard
where TARP begins.
But if we're going to have socialism for some companies, they don't want capitalism for the executives of those companies.
Generally speaking, we get the joke. We know that the free market is nonsense. We kind of agree with Mao that political power comes largely from the barrel of a gun.
You know, workers of the world unite. It's not just a slogan anymore. It's a way we're going to have to do our work.
And so I think the debate for the new generations, instead of capitalism or socialism, is we're going to have both, and then which proportion of each should we have in order to make this all work? It's a much more sensible debate.
But the dream was not to put one black family in the White House. The dream was to make everything equal in everybody's house.
So I want to know what is it that a socialist considers himself or herself committed to? Or if what you mean by economic equality is floors for everybody and ceilings for everybody? Well, floors, absolutely. Ceilings, probably. You have a consumption tax.
And one of the, I think, the tragedies of the civil rights movement was because the civil rights movement became so court-focused, I think that there was a tendency to lose track of the political and community organizing and activities on the ground that are able to put together the actual coalitions of power through which you bring about redistributive change. And in some ways we still suffer from that.
Because we have been guided by a Republican administration who believes in this simplistic notion that people who have wealth are entitled to keep it, and they have an antipathy towards the means of redistributing wealth.
You state up front that your starting point is, quote, no-nonsense Marxism, unquote. But you dispel all the negative images we have been programmed to conjure up with just the mention of that word socialism or Marxism.
It's a shift, it's a leveling to help lower income, middle-income Americans. Too often, a bunch of late, the last couple, 3 years, the maldistribution of income in America has gone up way too much. Wages have not kept up with the increased income of the highest income Americans. This legislation will have the effect of addressing that maldistribution of income in America.
When it gets out of whack, as it did in the 20s and it has now, you need to do some redistribution. This is a form of redistribution.
Definitely.
If you redistribute too much, then the system doesn't work because you take the incentive out of it. So it's like a machine. You've always got to tune it right.
In Venezuela, Chavez really had an incredible revolution, democratic revolution, to begin to put in place things that were going to have an impact on the people in Venezuela.
No more broken treaties. No more broken treaties. Give them the wealth. Give them the wealth. Give them the dignity. Give them the respect.
The rich are not paying their fair share in any nation.
And guess what this liberal would be all about? This liberal will be all about socializing, would be about basically taking over and the government running all of your companies.
I mean, I do think at a certain point you've made enough money